The Blue Man. Ever since my daughter passed away and my marriage collapsed, I've had a recurring dream. Well, it's been more like a nightmare. There are two segments, sometimes occurring in sequence, while at other times I experience one and not the other. Usually it's both. And though they can't last more than a few moments, they feel like hours. In the dream, I always awake in my bed, unable to move. It's dark, and with light creeping in from underneath the door, the room is silent. Then I look down towards my feet, and in the shadows, an entity stands over me. I can see its chest slowly ballooning out and in, breathing inside the darkness. Even now, I can almost hear its lungs. The entity is the shape of a man, with a sturdy physique, a hairless body, and eyes that glimmer. But his most astounding feature is the color of his skin. He is cobalt blue. Like an ocean, I could get lost in the deep, unsettling abyss of his appearance. I could sink until I'm too far down to escape. As he watches over me, I can feel his eyes, and I know he wants to hurt me, but he's bound by the difference between us. He is just a dream, a figment. Meanwhile, I am real, and it fills him with rage that I'm the one living outside my head. My world and his are intertwined when I fall asleep, but aside from an unwelcome rendezvous in the dead of night, a canyon will always rest between us. Sometimes the dream just ends there, but when it continues, the other segment begins, in which I find myself standing in a field behind my childhood home, gazing down the tree line for reasons I'll never know. In the distance, the blue man stands watching me, staring with his shining, angry eyes, and for the briefest moment, neither of us move. I can hardly breathe. Then he charges toward me, panting audibly like a lion about to catch its prey, and he gets closer and closer, rapidly getting near with a crazed look in his eyes, as I stay motionless, too afraid to run. Finally, just as he bares his teeth to snarl at me, just as he steps mere inches away, on the verge of crashing into me at the speed of a racing leopard, I wake up. The nightmare comes to an end. Sweat drenches both my clothing and the bed, and I'm clammy with a galloping heart. My eyes are wide with fear. This is typical. Almost a nightly occurrence. I can't even count how many times I've found myself in that position, how many nights I've lingered outside under the light of the moon because I was too startled to fall asleep again. For days after it happens, I can think only of the nightmare. When my head clears, I can ponder the dream and all that it means, going over it again and again in my head. And at this point, I believe I've determined why the Blue Man exists. This creature, this off-putting, unnamed man, I believe he is me. A part of me, at least. He is the disfigured combatant, warring within me, fighting for peace that never comes. He is the claws, scraping at the walls, locked in a room without doors. He's the runner through a maze that has no exit. He is trapped, squeezed like a cloth that's being drained of all the moisture once contained within its fabric. He is the blind eyes that don't see the horizon, the deaf ears that can't hear the screaming voices all around him. He doesn't notice every trap door, every window, every rope to be climbed, all of which could set him free from the darkness he's been lost inside of for so long. Instead, he just withers. He decomposes. He wilts until he is completely blue. He wants me to wake up, to accept the holes in my life and attempt to fill them. But each time he tries to sway me, he fails. I don't listen. I can't hear him for some reason. I am afraid of him. Because for me, all he brings is fear. He brings loss and longing. He brings back memories I'm too scared to revisit. So I push him back, and continue to suffer these nightmares repeatedly. It isn't every night that they come, yet I never go a day without thinking of them. They consume me far more often than any dream should. I can't help but wonder why I'm so afraid of dealing with the things that trouble me. Why can't I face my own failures? Why can't I move on? And when I do move on, assuming that I ever do, what happens next? Where will I go? I suppose I should look forward to the next step, but now I'm safe inside the walls of cowardice because I'm comfortable with every vice that binds me. My daughter and my wife. If I could rewrite history for them, I would. I would change everything. But the world isn't a book that can be rewritten. It's immutable from the moment words are inked onto the page, and because of that, I'm stuck with the Blue Man, and will no doubt see him many nights into the future. Once again, I'm awake long into the night, listening to the howling winds of Cairo, and I know that few people will ever listen to these entries, but still, it brings me the tiniest whisper of peace to talk about what I'm thinking and feeling. So thank you to whoever hears this for granting me this opportunity. It means the world to me.